Hey guys, it's me Crystal, and today I'm going to show you how to make this macrame toy hammock. To start, I have 40 pieces of rope that are 12 feet long, and this is 3mm rope, and you will find the full supply list down in the description. And you're just going to start by taking one piece and folding it in half and looping it over your dowel to make a lark's head knot. This dowel is a 7/8 inch thick dowel, and it is 48 inches long. And you're just going to continue. Here I'm putting the next one on, and you're going to space them out so there's two cords next to each other, and then there's about an inch or two of space, and then two more, and just do that all the way across. Then start over on the left, and we're going to tie a square knot. So you just bring the left cord in front of the two center cords, bring the right cord back behind and through the loop on the left, and pull it to tighten it up, and you want to tighten it all the way up to the top there. And then you're going to take the right cord and bring it in front of the two filler cords, bring the left cord behind and through the loop on the right, and then tighten it up. And that is your square knot. And you're going to repeat that all the way across with each pair of cords. Once you get that first row done, we're going to start over here on the right side and skip the two cords farthest to the right and take the next four cords over and tie another square knot. This is called alternating square knots because we're alternating from the previous row, and each row will just go back and forth like that to make a mesh pattern. You'll want there to be about an inch of space from the previous row of knots, so it can be a little tricky to get it perfectly spaced, and the best thing I found to do is to make a little spacer. So you see I'm just doing it freehand here and I'm trying to eyeball it, but I realized it wasn't going to be perfectly straight. So what I did was cut a piece of poster board and measured that it was exactly an inch, and I used that as a spacer and just slid it in between to make sure all my knots were exactly an inch apart. So you can just make the first half of your square knot, slide in your spacer, and then finish your square knot, and you don't have to try to eyeball it and make it all perfect, which makes it a lot easier. Here's how it looks. You just slide it in there and make your square knot, and there's no guesswork. It's much easier that way. And it's good because we have to tie 19 rows of square knots, and it's hard to get them all straight if you don't use the spacer, so definitely do that. Now I'm taking my second dowel and I'm going to attach it underneath the last row of square knots with double half hitch knots. Note that I used a 1/2 inch dowel here, and it kind of bows a little, so I would recommend just using a 7/8 inch dowel for this part as well. To do the double half hitch knot, you just loop it over the dowel like that, and then bring it over again, loop it over, and you pull the end through the loop. And if you are new to macrame and you struggle with the double half hitch knot, I have another video and also a blog post on my website that really go over it in detail, and I will link them down in the description. And I went ahead and went to the other side and tied a double half hitch knot on the far right side so that my dowel would be held horizontal and not, otherwise it's really hard to tie the knots if you're having to hold the dowel at the same time. So that made it easier. And then I just went back over to the left side, grabbed the next cord, and continued just tying double half hitch knots. And the first half, and then you just slide it over next to your first knot. Make sure it's all nice and straight and the same tightness. And then do the second half. And there you go. And you're just going to do that with each cord going all the way across. Just continue tying your double half hitch knots, and there'll be a space in between each group. And then here I got all the way back over to the right, and I'm untying that knot that was holding it in place. And then I'll go ahead and tie those last 4 knots. Got all the double half hitch knots tied. And don't worry about all that extra cord, we're going to use it. It's not going to be wasted. So now we're going to take one of our pieces of cord that are 8 feet long. Now we're going to line up the ends and fold it in half and attach it to our dowel. In this case, I'm using a cow hitch knot because I realized I had flipped my dowel around and now I had cow hitch knots on the side, and I kind of liked how it looked. Which a cow hitch knot is just a reverse lark's head knot. So just make sure it looks how you want either way, and attach it to your dowel here. And now we're going to pull the bottom of the toy hammock up, the dowel up, and just maybe like not quite halfway up. And you can attach the cord here with a double half hitch knot. And just know that I'm about to undo this, and I decided to do some alternating half hitch knots in my hanging cord. So if you want to do that, just hold on a minute. Don't do this part yet. But you can also do it like this if you don't want to add the alternating half hitch knots for your holding cords. It's up to you. But then I did the same thing over on the other side. I just attached the second cord. Same way with the cow hitch knot. And then you just want to make sure your dowel is straight, and you attach it with another double half hitch over here. And at this point, I started looking at it and I decided I wanted it to have a little bit more, I don't know, a little more texture there on the sides. But you see, this is how it looks so far. And you can pull it out, and you can put more toys in there if you pull it out. It's kind of adjustable like that. And here I have some of my kids' toys that I stuck in there to see how it would work, and it was looking good. I was happy with it. They have 8 million plushies, so it has to be able to hold a lot, which is why I made it so long. But then here at this point, I decided I wanted to make it a little more, I don't know, a little prettier. So I took the 2 cords and I just held the left cord in front and wrapped it around and brought it to the loop like that. And then you take the right cord and you hold it in front, bring it around and pull it through the loop. And then you just keep doing that back and forth. So then back to the left, in front and around through the loop. And then back on the right, in front and around and through the loop. And you're just going to continue this. And I did 38 alternating half hitch knots on each side. Here's how it looks at this point. And that's how much cord I had left. So I just brought my dowel back up and went ahead and reattached it with a double half hitch knot. And then did the same with the other cord. And there we go. And then I just did the same thing over on the other side. I'm about to do that side. Haven't done it yet. About to do it. Alright, here it is. I've done all the alternating half hitch knots, and now we're going to address this fringe. If you go and I measured what was left from my holding cords, and it was about, let's just say 6 inches. Let's round it up to 6 inches. So what I decided to do was just make my fringe about that long. On each side, you're going to have this one long cord on the right and the left. There's just one that's really long, but then the rest of it is about the same length. So what we're going to do is measure down from the top of the cords down about 6 inches and cut our excess cord off right about there, right at the 6-inch mark. And don't worry, we're using this, so it's not getting wasted. All right, so then we have this, and you have that one long one on the right and the left, which happens to be twice as long as the others. So I just cut it, I folded it up, and then I just cut it in half. Yeah, I just mashed up all the ends and went ahead and cut that one long piece in half. And there'll be one more over on the right that's like that. And then you have all these pieces that are close to the same length. And I'm measuring those to see roughly how long they are. They're about, let's just say the shortest one's about 16 inches long. We'll just say they're about 16 inches long. And we're going to attach them in these gaps in between the knots and use a cow hitch knot so that it blends in with the double half hitch knots. What I did is on the gaps on the far left, this one in particular, and then the one on the far right, I attached 5 pieces of fringe. And then in all the other gaps, I attached 4 pieces of fringe, just so that it would be even. There's 4. And I'm going to add one more on this side. And see, that fills it in really nice. And then you have this nice fringe. And we're going to continue that across. So you can just go ahead and cut all of your cords at 6 inches. And then go ahead and attach them in the gaps. So there we go. Okay, we got them all attached, and now I have 4 left at the end, so I'm going to do 2 on the outside on each side. So 2 over here, and then over on the other side, 2 more. And that way it's perfectly even, and there's the same amount of fringe all the way across. And then all you have to do is go and cut it so it's even, and you're not wasting too much cord. It's just a little bit of trim, a little bit to trim off at the end. And we get this nice fringe. And then I went through and untwisted it. And I didn't brush it out because this is going to be in my kids' room and I don't need that kind of stress in my life. I don't know about you. So I just untwisted it, and I like how wavy it looks like that. I think it's really pretty. And here is the finished result. And I did go through and trim it, of course, obsessively, as we always have to do. But I think it turned out really cute. Here, I'm trying to carefully trim the fringe without trimming any toys' feet off. And now the last thing to do is make a hanging cord. So I have 2 pieces of 15-inch long cord, and I'm just folding it in half, like so, and matching up the ends. And then I'm just going to attach it to the dowel with a lark's head knot that's kind of like facing up, like this. And then we're just going to tie an overhand knot in the end. And this is a very simple little hanging loop. I just wanted it to be simple and easy. And I could just hang it on a nail in the wall or a picture hook or something. And that's what I did. So there you go. You got that. And just do the same thing over on the other side. And it's a very simple little hanging thing. I wanted it to have 2 hooks so it would hold the weight. And here it is on the wall in my kids' room. I think it turned out so good and they love it. Now I have to make another one for my son. But I think it is such a good way to store toys, and it's a nice long toy hammock. It's not short, and it will hold lots of plushies. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks for watching!